Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. And Monkey Prince, issue number 1. This was well, I'm going to say surprisingly good book because I know the story of the Monkey Prince, the Monkey King. I know a lot of these stories and whatnot, and they're really great stories. um, wow. And I'm just surprised to see it in an American audience. So you'd figure this is something that would come out with manga, right? Instead, it comes out in DC. They've actually integrated it into the DC universe. Batman and Robin are actually in this book. And wow, the way they put them in is really damned impressive. Definitely enjoying the hell out of this. Let's get talking about who made this book, and we'll move on from there. Also, just so you know, a lot of these names are going to sound the same. None of the names are the same. It's just my horrible pronunciation. Okay, this issue is called Enter the Monkey Part 1. Jean Luang Yang is the writer. Bernard Chang is the artist. Sebastian Chang is the colorist. And Janice Chiang is the letterer. Like I said, 4 different names, and they all sound the goddamn same out of my mouth. Stanley Archim Lau does a variant cover, which I like. So pretty much all Chinese names, except for right over here, Dustin Yang. I'm pretty sure that's a Vietnamese name. So almost perfect. Almost perfect. Okay, so there's a story of this little kid who grows up with intense fears, and he almost squeals like a pig. In reality, he squeals like a monkey. And every time that something fearful shows up, and all this fear seems to be wrapped around the idea of Batman. There's some shady business going on with his parents, even though they seem like really good parents. Their choice of employment is somewhat questionable, and I love that. I absolutely love. Like, it's such a. There are parents in this. There's a superhero who has parents. Beautiful. Not somebody who's just killed off or disappeared or vanished someplace in the universe, right? Absolutely love it. But Batman shows up to kick some butt. And he's terrified of Batman, terrified of anything involved bats, terrified with anything including water, because it was raining outside. There's a thunderstorm, and Batman comes in during the thunderstorm to go after his parents. And he leaves some watery footprints on the ground. So when the kid comes in to see his parents, that he sees the watery footprints that leads up to Batman and beating up his family. I love it. I love it. Everything that happens in the beginning of this comic book, absolutely fantastic. Wow, really good writing. The art is, I'm not going to say it's quite childish, but it's made so that a child can read it. I think that this book is still for age 13 plus, if I'm remembering correctly. Let me look at the cover. Yep, for age 13 plus, which makes it a little weird, but it's fine. The art is what it is. The colors, it's funny. It's what's been happening a lot in the comics as of late. The pencils are always just whatever they are. You know what I'm saying? And the inks are usually supposed to finish. You know, the finishes are usually supposed to spruce up whatever's missed in the pencils. Nowadays, it seems like everybody just leaves it to the colorists. I don't know how much colorists get paid, but I do know that they should get paid a lot more than they do, because this art is really made by the colorists on here. That's not to insult either the penciler or the inker, but the colors are what really makes this comic book. It pops. It feels like a child's story that is not made for children. There's a decapitation scene in here. Excuse me, I think it was purple blood, which makes it, I guess, okay. I know it's supposed to be 13 plus, but I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, and I don't think I remember anything in this issue that made me kind of, blanch or think that, parents shouldn't be, letting their kids look at this stuff. There's one part where this one guy gets shot, but they don't really. Oh no, they do kind of show the shot. I don't know. My kids have seen worse on TV. I know it's 13 plus. I don't see too much of a problem in here. Anyway, what do you call the kid goes and meets this janitor who has some pig features. There's a reason for that. The kid has to come to realize his heritage and where he actually comes from. It's almost like a Jesus sort of moment. Jesus grew up. For the most part, everybody thought that what was it? What the heck was Joseph the carpenter was his father, but whether Jesus knew or not until he got older, it's the idea that because there's some sects of Christianity who say no, he always knew, and some who say no, he didn't know. So you guys fight it out. I'm not interested in that. What do you call it? Where once he realized, oh, hey, here's the case, that's when he suddenly realized his true parentage, and he went out into the world to try and find out who he was. There's almost that sort of a story here also, which is fantastic because that's a part of the hero's journey. And you actually have that sense here. There's the beautiful girl in here who he really likes. And it's I wouldn't say it's subtle, but it's definitely subdued. So it's perfect. It's not the main point of this book at all in any way, shape, or form. There's the old wise man who's in here who doesn't come off as a wise man, the hermit, all right? And he comes off as a joke. He's almost like not Kermit the Frog, a Yoda type of a character. Love it. I love the way that he's handled. And it brings the necessary humor to the book. Meanwhile, this pig is guiding the monkey prince to the destiny that, well, it's his destiny, goddammit. So it is what it is. So many elements of this book are fantastic. There is a lot of there's an element here. Let's just say, if you want to just leave it at this and not get into I'm going to talk about a bit of racism in the comic book. You're free to leave now. It's a fantastic book. I think you're going to love it. But moving on from that, there is an element of racism in here. No, not racism against anybody who you're not supposed to be racist against. But white people you're allowed to be racist against nowadays. Again, I don't have any vested interest in this. I'm Italian and Native American, right? You never see natives anywhere unless they're going to make somebody's skin a little bit darker and throw some feathers in their hair. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, nobody pays attention to indigenous people. Literally, we lead the worst lives in all of North America. Actually, in both continents, in North and South America, indigenous peoples lead the absolute worst lives, and nobody cares. Nobody even thinks about it. Crimes go unreported, you know what I'm saying, and unsolved because police don't even care. And it's just, it is the world that we live in. So whatever, it is what it is, right? Don't worry about it. Nothing for you to worry about, right? And as far as Italians, I mean, unless they're going to have mafia in a freaking thing or somebody to, make a joke of, nobody's ever going to say anything about a freaking Italian, right? So no personal vested interest in this. But there's even the Karen comment in here. And it's like, really? And they have to actually say white Karen. Oh, that's, I guess that's a good thing. I guess that leaves it open that there could be some Chinese Karens out there, and there are. There could be some black Karens out there, and there are. That's cool. I'm glad they at least left that open. But there's a lot of like white comments and whatnot in here, which is a little. It is what it is, and this is just the world that we live in right now. If you don't identify as white, you're probably not going to have any concern with it unless you actually care about equal justice in the world and actually trying to stomp out something. But we're never going to get rid of racism. That's just something it's always going to exist. There's always going to be a way to otherize somebody. But it's just, it tells you a lot about society when you know what is safe racism as opposed to what is unacceptable racism. Right? And this comic book, unfortunately, it really pushes that example a lot. It would be nice if we didn't have to see stuff like that, right? It would be nice. But, and honestly, the only excuse that they can give is, well, really long freaking time ago, which I'm going to say isn't that long ago, the shoe was on the other foot. Well, that's great. So you're saying that nobody was able to handle that with the people back then, so you're going to take it out on their kids and their grandkids and people who are too far down the family line to, again, you don't even know if like this person's particular family had anything to do with anything in the first place. I mean, it is what it is, and it says a lot about holding grudges and blood feuds and things and we've got the Hatfields and the McCoys in the Americas, right? So I understand, I get it. And realistically, blood feuds, tribalism, and religion are the main reasons why everybody allows, economics are the real reason why there are wars all over the world. But the acceptable reasons to go to war are because of the three things I just mentioned. And that's never going to change. All throughout the world, all throughout the history of whatever, it's not going to change because we allow certain things to be acceptable and not. Anyway, I look forward to the people who want to, yell at me in the comments and say, you don't understand anything about racism. Feel free to tell me all about it. That's what the comment section is for. But aside from that, it is what it is. Like I said, this was a surprisingly really good book. I say surprisingly because I almost expected it to be a joke, but this is a Chinese story. But hands down, this is a Chinese story. And I'm very glad that they got Chinese people. I was glad they at least got somebody who is Chinese to write it. The fact that they got pretty much all Chinese people to do the book itself, in my opinion, even better. That's cool. I dig it. And it's still tied in with modern culture. Most of this is happening, the vast bulk of this book happens in Gotham City, and Batman and Robin are in the book. I mean, just one of the perfect ways to not just say, oh, here's a Chinese book and it's over here. No. The DC universe is integrated in here. Now, I don't want to see an appearance by Superman in the next issue and Wonder Woman in the following issue and so on and so forth. I just have no interest in seeing something like that. But it is nice to see that it is integrated into the DC universe proper. So that makes me happy. Like I said, pretty good book. I hope that they really low-key the racism in here. Again, they did actually make it Chinese bad guys. You know what I'm saying? At least I think that they're Chinese. I hope that they're not Japanese. That would just go back to the whole blood feud thing. But it looks like there are Chinese bad guys in here also, which is just good. There's really no need for white people. But the kid's mom is white. But there's really no need for other than Chinese people to be in the book so far as it stands. You know what I'm saying? Just, I like this. This is a Chinese story. Let it be a Chinese story. Let that be what it is. How easy would it have been to just say, oh, there's some white bullies who are beating up on this kid, right? Really? Is that necessary? Are we actually going to demonize somebody else? So it's nowhere near as bad as it could be. But I'm addressing a couple of things. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, I really did enjoy this book. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Enough that I can just overlook some things that, with all due respect, don't pertain to me in the first place. So it is what it is. Anyway, definitely go and check this out. I think that you're going to enjoy it. The fact that it is done by all Chinese people, for the most part, it makes me believe that they're going to actually tell the Monkey King story in here. Just a little bit personal. The movie Monkey King, that I think it was called Monkey King, that had what the hell was the name of that movie? Anyway, it had Jet Li, and I'm trying to remember the other guy's name, the circus monkey guy, the guy who was raised in a circus his whole life, Jackie Chan. There we go, a legit tough guy, but not a great martial artist. I know people are going to argue that. Have a conversation with me, outside. I'm happy to tell you why. A guy who's did he even get to second degree black belt? I don't think so. I think he's only first degree, right? A guy who's great at circus acrobatics and movie work and filmography and choreography and doing his own stunts. And like I said, a legitimate tough guy who, even at this age, you probably don't want to get into a fist fight with him. He'll probably whoop your ass. You know what I'm saying? And then there's Jet Li, who is not the toughest guy in the world, but he is one of the greatest traditional martial artists in Kung Fu who you're ever going to come across, right? I'm talking about like way back from when he was 7 years old. The guy was just impressive and a prodigy to begin with. Freaking fantastic, right? But they were in this one movie together and it involved the Monkey King. And it wasn't a great movie. It was really kind of a booty movie. But it goes back to show, like the end of the movie, I actually cried at a certain point when I saw it when it originally happened. Jet Li is just so damned expressive, and there's this one part where there was going to be a sacrifice made. And Jet Li, wow, I'm getting emotional thinking about it again. And Jet Li kind of gave this expression where he's like, like that, like, hey, on to the next great adventure. And it was just so perfect. And even though the movie wasn't that great, that scene alone makes it worth watching the whole entire movie, in my opinion. God, it was such a... Jet Li is just one of the best actors ever, and it's a shame he hasn't gotten more meaningful roles. And I know he's gotten plenty, but whatever, it is what it is. Feel free to go and read this book. Really good stuff. I like I said, I hope that we actually get some Monkey King story in here, like, the background. I don't see why we wouldn't, but I'm looking forward to issue 2. I'll talk to you guys later. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.